What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Legion leveling experience. Now, I did hit level 110 before on the Legion Alpha, but the thing with that is there have been a lot of changes since then, which we're going to be talking about in this video, obviously. And also, whenever I first did it kind of like in increments, right? Because whenever the Alpha came out, I think the cap was only like 102, then they increased it to 104, 106, 108, then it was finally increased to the actual level cap, which is 110. So I never really had the chance to actually go organically from level 100 to 110 without being time gated in between. So I just recently hit 110 on a Legion beta. I had a really good time doing it, by the way, and so I want to talk to you guys in this video about what I had a good time doing, what I might not have had as good of a time doing, what I think will change, what I think won't change, and what I really hope does change. So anyway, guys, I think the biggest change is the fact that the leveling, the process, whenever I did it from 100 to 110 on the alpha, even like if you take out the increments, each level was taking me about probably 40 to 50 minutes, right? On the Legion beta now, each level was taking me about an hour and a half, from probably an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and a half. And well, I could probably not be doing things quite as perfect as I could be. They have slowed down the leveling process a lot, and I think that I was originally expecting the getting from 100 to 110 to take about 7 or 8 hours, and now I would say I guess on the beta right now, unless you're farming mobs, which we're going to talk about in a second here, it will probably take you between 12 and 15 hours. So I think that that's a pretty good change in some ways, but there are some things that I don't like about that. The fact that, and this is okay, if they're going to go with this, I'm good with it, but I just don't really think they will. If you do every quest in High Mountain, every quest in Val'sharah, every quest in Stormheim, and every quest in Azuna, which are all 4 of the Legion leveling zones, you're not even going to make it to 109. So you've got an entire level that you can, you're basically you've got no quests to do, and so you either have to do dungeons, or you can be like me and just kill goats. Which actually, by the way, guys, was faster than questing. But I got from, was it 108 to 110 in less than 2 hours just killing goats and Drogbar in High Mountain and Stormheim. So it's actually pretty funny, but I don't really think that that's what's actually going to go live, right? So anyway, I'm kind of surprised that they did that, and I think it's probably just not really correctly tuned. Now, if they want to go with this and they want to say, you've got to do extra stuff besides questing, you have to do dungeons and stuff and grinding to actually get to 110, I'm not even really going to complain about that too much, because for one, it's only going to take a couple extra hours, and two, I think that maybe asking people to do a little bit extra stuff isn't really always the worst thing. But I don't really think that that's what's going to happen. So I do expect that you will probably have to do at least 3 of the 4 zones. And personally, with each zone, I want to talk about that right now, is that what I really liked about each zone. Now, Azuna, I think Azuna, it's so hard, man. It's so hard because I fucking love Vikings. That's part of my heritage and shit. And so Stormheim, you got those people with the helmets with the horns on it. And I know they didn't actually have horns back in the day, but I mean that's kind of what you'd think. And they've got axes and the Vicryl and all that stuff. It feels a lot like Howling Fjord, Stormheim does. It's hard for me to say really which zone I like the most, because the truth is, every zone is fucking badass. Azuna reminds me a lot of Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne. You've got these destroyed Night Elf ruins, and, you've got a fucking Kraken in there. That's great. I was so glad, I was upset. Why didn't have any sea monsters? I'm really glad to bring that shit back in Legion. I'm very happy about that. But anyway, the thing with that is that you've got in Azuna, you've got the Legion coming in. You can go inside the Legion's buildings. You've got these huge craters where the Legion is too. You've got the Naga. You have to interface kind of with Queen Ashara, at least probably through proxy. And it's really, really cool. I enjoy Azuna a lot. The whole water zone. It's a very watery zone, but it doesn't feel like Vashj'ir, right? And Vashj'ir was great, but underwater zones never really pan out. At least they hardly ever do. And then you move over to Val'sharah, and Val'sharah is probably what I think in Malfurion said in the quest. Val'sharah is the closest thing that you get to the actual Emerald Dream. And so you've got these giant ass dragons flying around. You've got Malfurion chasing down Xavius, and just all this really, really cool stuff. You've got Blackrook Hold. You've got this really, really aesthetically nice place for the Gilnean area. And I just really, really enjoy it, and it might not not actually a Beagle name, but it reminded me a lot of it. And so Val'sharah is really, really great. It's very druidic, very natural. And then you move over to Stormheim, and then one of the great things about, not Stormheim, High Mountain, I guess we're going in that way. High Mountain, I mean, you've got like, the quest line in High Mountain is probably my favorite. I think it really flows together the best because basically what you have to do is you get kind of the daughter or granddaughter, I don't really know how she's related to, I think it's called like Hulin High Mountain, I believe. I'm not really entirely sure. Who was like a big hero of the Tauren and was a big hero in the War of the Ancients. And so you play through kind of the... Fuck you. Sorry about that. The fucking dog was barking. Anyway, the best thing about High Mountain is you get to play through kind of like the past in Ashara, where Hulin is like fighting all of the Burning Legion off in the War of the Ancients, and then his daughter has to rally all of the clans together, and so it feels like the quests in High Mountain really fit together the best, right? And I really, really enjoy that. And there's like kind of the whole thing where like you're fighting these like certain Tauren. I guess like there's a certain Tauren clan that you think are on your side, and then you actually end up talking to this rock guy who's supposed to be against you, and he says, yo, these guys are fucking crazy, and then you end up allying with the rock guy. You go down and fight Murlocs, and you pretend to be a Murloc. Like, it's just a really, really great zone. I like that one a lot, especially kind of like, the high mountains. Those are cool too. And, you have the Nesting Wary quest as well. Then you move over to Stormheim, and again, I mean, you've got like lightning, like fucking Vikings. Like, it's awesome. And you got these storm dragons. And, I really, really like Stormheim as well, especially the aesthetics. I think Stormheim is probably my aesthetically favorite zone, but it's a very, very hard pick, okay? So all four of the zones are really, really fun to play through. I think Stormheim is the slowest zone, and so if there is going to be like a zone that I'm going to like whenever I make my leveling guide, Stormheim will probably be the zone that you cut out unless you're a warrior and you need to do that for your class quest, and you probably want to integrate that in there. But the point is that the leveling is not really as fast as it was, but I didn't really notice that because I had so much fun doing the quests. Now, this was also my first time doing most of the quests, and so maybe my third or fourth time might not really be quite as entertaining, but, I think that Blizzard should focus on making sure at least the first time is really good, and I think they did a really good job with that in Legion. Now, one of the things I really liked about Warlord to Draenor leveling, and I think that most people feel this way, is that leveling in Warlord to Draenor was probably one of the strongest points in the expansion. And what I really liked about it is that you could go around and you could collect all of those little treasures, and treasures would give you bonus experience, and there were other things that you could do for bonus experience, and I really, really liked that because it kind of allowed you to, optimize your path better, find things off the beaten path, and every single time you collect something like that, it's not just maybe a little bit extra, now it'll be Order Hall resources, but it'll give you a little bit of experience as well. I thought that was a really, really great thing that they added in Warlord to Draenor, and I don't really see that in Legion. Now, the truth is that I did find some of the chests, and whenever I looted them, they didn't give me an experience. So I do hope that they add some of that stuff back into Legion, but I won't really be surprised if they don't in some ways, just to make sure that people actually go around doing all the quests instead of just going around and clicking rocks. It kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it did make the Warlord to Draenor leveling a little bit more, I guess like it was easier to kind of like optimize it and make it even faster than it already was. So the next thing is that there are like kind of like these bonus quest areas, and you guys know in Gorgrond, whenever you go to like a lot of different areas, there are the bonus objectives where if you complete the bonus objectives or whatever it is, you pretty much get a lot of extra experience. Well, they carried that into Legion, and they're doing that even more. One thing that I don't like about that, though, is that sometimes you don't really know whenever the actual bonus quest is going to be ending. You're going to be going to another zone, so you don't really know, should I go around and still farm mobs here, or should I go to the next area, or I turn in the quest and keep going? So I don't really like that entirely, and also another thing that I don't like about the bonus objectives in Legion right now, especially whenever you're leveling. The thing is, like, whenever you're max level, they take, like, less than half as long to complete, but whenever you're leveling, it takes, like, each mob that you kill is, like, 2%, right? So it's almost not even worth it to do a lot of the bonus quests because of how slow they go. So I would really like to see them increase that to where you can be working on those at the same time as you're working on the quests. So it's kind of like a little bit of a bonus. But right now, that's not really what's going on, and hopefully that will change, and I'm pretty sure that it probably will because that's not the way that it works at max level. Now, outside of that, the quest objectives and I just like the rewards really are pretty, I think they're pretty fun to do. One thing that I think is pretty cool is that you can get the I guess like your gear can upgrade up to blue and epic, the same as it does in Warlords of Draenor. But since you're getting more pieces of gear, it's happening a lot more often, and I do think that's always been a cool little like bonus thing, because it doesn't really like kind of change everything. Honestly, it's just kind of like one more little thing that you can do, and I do think that's really cool, and I hope that they do continue that as well. Now, really, I think that the main point, and I think the main issue with the leveling is that it does take very, very long, and there isn't really quests to go all the way through. Now, while I'm okay with this, and most of the people who are beta testers are pretty much okay with this as well, I think that for the average player, they're going to get pretty confused, and especially because mob grinding in WoW hasn't really been a thing since Burning Crusade, and then you can even argue that it hasn't even been a thing since vanilla. I'm not really sure that that's the way it's going to go whenever it actually goes live, but as I said before, if it goes live, I'm not really going to have too much of a problem with it. So my I guess like the way I really feel about the leveling in Legion is I fucking love it. I think the zones are great. Another thing that I don't like though is that the rare spawns, there's no real incentive to kill the rare spawns because they usually don't drop a lot of stuff, and you also probably want to wait to kill them to whenever you get to 110, so you can get the chance to actually get an upgraded epic piece of gear that's 800 plus. But so it's kind of like almost a disincentive to kill the rare spawns whenever you're leveling, and I don't really like the way that works. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the leveling is fucking great. I love it. I've had a really, really good time doing it, and I think pretty much everybody else that got to 110 in my guild has had a very, very good time as well. So I kind of just wanted to talk to you guys and give my feedback and say what I like and what I don't like about the Legion leveling. Everything is really, really great. There are some things that I don't like, but almost everything I do like. And the things that I don't like are mostly just very small numerical things, and I think that they will change. Zones are great, quests are great, rewards are great, it feels good, it looks great, and I just really hope the in-game is going to be able to do the same thing for me. But you guys will know I'll be letting you know about that stuff, pretty much, pretty soon here, actually, now, since I just got 110. So anyway, if you guys have played on the Legion Beta, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Pretty much, I'm kind of curious to see what you think about this. Again, I think leveling will probably take, at this point, unless you kill the Drog bars, which give like 3,000 experience each, which makes no sense, but hey, that's how it is right now. It will probably take you about 11 to 15 hours to get from 100 to 110, which is a little bit more than Wards of Draenor. But anyway, guys, before I just keep going on and on, that's pretty much all I've got. And again, just go ahead and let me know if you've leveled and how you feel about it as well. But again, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe.